Welcome back to Unpack with HTECH, where we sit down with business owners and industry experts to unpack what makes their business unique, answer the questions customers ask most often, and share the knowledge that helps people make informed decisions. Today, we're joined in studio by Michele and Edward Johnson of Unwind in Idaho. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. To start, can you tell us about Unwind in Idaho and how the business came to be?
This is kind of a fun story, and we'll zoom out a little bit from a couple years ago. Right before the COVID pandemic, Michele and I had the opportunity to build a home over on the Oregon coast, which was our dream to have a place over there. Once COVID hit, construction prices doubled, interest rates doubled. We were in a position of questionably not sure if we wanted to move forward with the project anymore. And we started entertaining the idea of short-term rentaling the home over there. And, that allowed us to keep forward and kind of fulfill our dream of having the home. And we learned that once construction was done, it was very hard to find good property management. And for the first year or so of having the home, we often joked that maybe we need to just move over here and start our own property management company. So fast forward a little bit, we were presented with an opportunity over here in Coeur d'Alene. We found that a local short-term rental management company was going out of business, and we reached out and had the opportunity to purchase that operating portfolio. So we kind of went back to our original thought of, maybe we should do our own property management company and up the bar a little bit and show the area how it should be done. So we went into negotiations, and that's kind of where it started. That's a little bit of a high level.
The name Unwind really is rooted in our core values and how we like to travel. When we have the gift and the opportunity to go travel, we want nothing more than to just check out, hit the exhale button, and be able to really relax and unwind. And we were thinking about what we wanted our name to be and what really resonated with us. We were at the drawing board forever, and nothing felt right. We just kept coming up with different phrases and different words, and nothing felt right. And I was like, what about Unwind? And we both just was like, that's it. That is what we love to experience. But for our business, that's what we want our guests to experience. And we want them to be able to do it in our beautiful state, in this beautiful area, and we just feel if they are able to come and unwind in Idaho, they will leave better than they did when they arrived. And it will stick with them forever. And that is part of the beauty of our area, that we just want nothing more for guests to come and experience. We just feel that is so necessary and needed in the world we live in, and all the noise that we're surrounded by every day, to be able to push all of that out and just get quiet and be able to take in the beauty. We all need more of that. So that is our hope for everybody that comes and stays with us, that they're able to unwind in Idaho.
I love that so much. Well, what areas do you currently serve, and what kind of properties do you work with?
So right now, our territory is pretty vast. We go all the way up from Harrison, Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, and then also into Post Falls. And the thing that I love about our portfolio is we have something for everyone. That's really important to us, that we can tailor what we can offer our guests to be able to, really be able to invite anybody to come stay with us. We have a small little bungalow right in Midtown that's 400 square feet, all the way up to a beautiful 5-story home on Hayden Lake that's 8,000 square feet, 3 kitchens, et cetera, et cetera. So we want to make sure that each one of the guests, no matter if they're staying in the bungalow or the 5-story home, that they have the same experience with us, no matter what that might look like. And so it's important for us to have a really good sampling to be able to offer.
Amazing. What do you think makes Coeur d'Alene in North Idaho such a special place for visitors?
There is so much about this area. I grew up here, so of course I'm a little partial to the area, but I think it has something to offer for everybody. Our outdoor enthusiasts can find something in every direction that they look. All of the lakes, hiking trails, the fishing, hunting, biking, rock climbing, whatever it might be, you're going to find it. We're really close to Spokane, to the airport, makes travel nice. You do have, all the amenities that really any large city would offer. And one thing that I think is really special about this is we have a true 4 seasons up here. So, I mean, you can really experience the beautiful 90-degree summers, blue skies, hardly any rain in those months, gorgeous fall colors into, what's turning into kind of a world-class ski area with Schweitzer, and then just the beautiful bloom and flowers and colors in the spring. And it's just, like I said, I'm partial, but it's magical up here.
And I think that's really where we pick that up because of our passion and our love for the area and the beauty, and truly our community is where we get to help our guests that are coming here for the first time get to experience all the special treasures that have made us fall in love with this area and why we live here. We love to be able to curate that. I love that you mentioned the fall, right? One of our favorite things to do is to go on the St. Joe cruise in the fall and take that 6-hour ride up the river, have our picnic on the boat and play cribbage and just enjoy the day together. And to be able to share that with our guests that are coming in and reserve that, that boat ride for them, to be able to have the charcuterie board ready to take on them with a boat. We do all of those pieces, and that's just what we love to be able to do, is not only showcase our community, our beauty of our area, but then also how can we bring them back into our local economy. We really take pride in partnering with local businesses and, and introducing our guests to local businesses, whether that's the, Vesper Charcuterie, who we love, who makes our charcuterie boards for us, down to, we've got Krista over at stylists, and to be able to go and experience the vinyl evening, with all the events that they do, to being able to partner with local businesses to have the boat ready at the dock, to be able to go out and enjoy the lake like we love. It's just really important for us to, one, share that with our guests, but then also how do we tie that back to our local other businesses that we are so grateful to partner with.
What qualities should homeowners look for when choosing a vacation rental management company in Coeur d'Alene?
There's a couple key pieces that are going to be really important to the success of the home. The first one, it really is the maintenance of how the property is cared for. If you don't have a team that's going in and protecting the asset, the asset will start to deteriorate. There's going to be things in the home that are going to just start to fall apart naturally. I mean, as any home does. Part of what we do is we have a team that's going in every 4 to 6 weeks, and they're putting eyes on everything. They're making sure that pipes aren't leaking, that, doors and windows are properly sealing, and just, all the things that are important in maintaining the value of the home. Another thing that's really important is the marketing piece of it. There's a lot of different platforms out there. I mean, Airbnb is obviously the most common, but surprisingly, about half of the reservations come through Airbnb. There's a lot of other ways that you can get your home out there. So marketing it and being diverse in where that home is visible is huge. The last thing, and really this is one of the key pieces, is a safety element. And a piece that we do very different is we have curated a very diligent safety program for these homes to be able to go in and make sure that, one, the guest has a good experience, and two, that the homeowner is protected. If an injury was to happen on the property, there's a lot of potential liability there. And if we are doing our job correctly and making sure that the home is up to codes and standards of a normal hospitality industry, that's going to increase their liability. That's going to make the insurance companies happy. And it just looks good all the way around. There's a little bit of a bad rap in short-term rentals that, they're national news. You'll see, people are getting hurt, lives are being lost for different things, and they're all very preventable situations. And we're taking the extra steps to make sure that doesn't happen on our watch.
Wonderful. How do you help owners protect their property while also creating a welcoming experience for guests?
And this really ties into that safety piece. We had a lot of properties when we first came into this that we were not comfortable marketing out. As I mentioned earlier, we had bought an existing portfolio of properties, and upon inspection, we went back to homeowners and said, hey, there's some things that you need to do to make this property really compliant with a hospitality standard. And some of them weren't interested in doing it. Some of them didn't have the finances to do it, whatever the reason might be. But we had to make the hard decision to let those properties go, because if they're not safe, if we wouldn't put our own family, in there, we're not going to put anybody else's family in there either. When you make sure that the home is safe and well maintained, the guest is going to have a good experience. They're going to come in, they're going to see that there's smoke detectors and proper railings and fire extinguishers and safety or first aid kits. And, and that just is going to give them a sense of comfort in knowing that they're in a home just as if they were probably in their own home, that their kids are going to be safe, that their elderly parents are going to be safe, whatever it might be.
When a homeowner first considers turning their property into a vacation rental, what questions should they ask themselves?
I think the most important thing is, what is their intent and needs of what they want out of the home? If they're wanting to have it just solely as an income property, or if it's a vacation destination that they rent it, part of the year, but they want to be here in the summers or in the winters for skiing, being realistic with those expectations, because, depending on what direction you want to go with the property is going to determine the outcome. So as you're determining if you want a short-term rental, I think being very honest with yourself and the intent. But then there's a lot of questions that they would want to ask as they move into thinking about management into that next step. If they say, yes, we want a vacation rental, there's a lot of layers beyond that they need to ask themselves and find answers for before they move forward.
Yeah, I would say, to add to that, it's really important to interview heavily. We really believe that partner with homeowners to care for their property. It's a mutual relationship. It's a partnership. It's a collaboration. And that is something we value deeply. Understand their needs, absolutely, because we might be not aligned on that, or we might have an assumption or expectations that aren't realistic. That's very important for us to always be able to meet. I think it's also very important for anybody exploring renting their property and they're looking at other property management companies, really to understand what all they do. Dig into those questions. When the toilet quits working, who's going out to take care of it? What's the turnaround time? How do they maintain the property? We really believe in stewardship, and a lot of our owners haven't been to their property in years, and they have no clue of what condition it's even in, but they trust that it is in the same condition they left it in, because that's what we do. And I think there can be a lot of assumptions that services are part of it or come with it. And I think the other thing, too, that's really important is communication, identifying what your needs are from a communication standpoint and what your expectations are as well. Back to it's a partnership and a collaboration, and being able to have a respectful, mutual conversation about their investment where they feel that support, but also are open to hearing, areas of opportunity that we can work on together, I think is really key.
What does the process of listing a home as a vacation rental typically look like?
It's a pretty in-depth process. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. Specifically with us, we're on about 35 different listing platforms. So as you take a home to go live, there's the staging, the photography, the cleaning that has to happen, curating the listing, getting the photos set up, digitally, getting that pushed out and broadcast, marketed across all of those online travel agencies. It's a lengthy process. And one thing that we do is we really want the homeowner to not feel like it's a burden. We can handle all of that. There's nothing that they need to do other than, if there's maybe some improvements or things that need to be done to the home. If there's items that they need to procure, we'll even help them do that. But there's the partnership, just making sure that T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and it's ready to go. But that's one beautiful thing about us is, we take that full lift on when we're onboarding.
We just had a homeowner purchase a penthouse over in Arrow Point. They don't live here, And the former owner walked away, left it as is, and we took over the property. So we had to go in and basically do a move out of all of the belongings that were left in this place. And from there, build this environment where people can walk into and have an amazing experience that exceeds their expectations, to be able to go in. And this is actually the part that I love. My middle name might be Marie Kondo. I love to organize. I love to make sure everything is just very simple and easy for guests to use, so their experience is amazing. No one wants to go into a cluttered home and have chaos and feel like you're staying at someone's house that just stayed there the night before. But the other piece of that is I do a lot of design and decorating. That's just kind of one of my passions, and something that's been really fun for me that's surfaced in this journey that I really didn't expect, but has evolved into that. So, we do consulting with that as well, of being able to go into a home and identify areas where a couple of things could make or break the experience, or make or break the photos, or amenities that could really help with their return on their investment and get that higher average daily rate because of minor little tweaks. I've gone into homes where we've invested $1,500 into it, and within 5 months, they had already made the revenue they had for the previous year. Something simple as a $1,500 investment. And then we've gone into other homes where we put in, they put in over $120,000, $130,000, and, seeing that investment come through as well. But that's what's really fun for us, is we love to get in there and brainstorm and dream and look at a home or any type of property and imagine what it could do and how we could help get it there. We love to be able to curate and collaborate with owners, and we've got one. I'm not going to share what they're doing because it's very fun, very special, but it's nothing like our area has. There's no amenity like this that a family could come in and experience. And it will be one of those that the family will come, even though the property is beautiful, they're going to come for this one amenity because of how much fun and specialness it's going to bring to their family. So we just love being able to come alongside and do those fun things, and then have it really benefit the owner in the long run, and make their investment worthwhile.
What are some of the biggest challenges property owners face when trying to manage a short-term rental themselves?
There's a couple key ones there, and I think housekeeping really is probably the largest pain point that we hear. You think when you have a back-to-back reservation where you have a guest checking out in the morning and one coming in the afternoon, if you're self-managing, usually you're self-cleaning and doing everything yourself. Trying to get the home prepared and ready in a 5, 6, or 7 hour window can be very difficult, especially if you have a normal 9-to-5 job. The other two things that I think can really be the gotchas that sneak up on you is insurance and maintenance. With us being a larger scale property management company, our insurance acts a little bit different than if you were a self-managing homeowner, to where your homeowner's insurance doesn't even come into play when you list with us. If a guest comes in and they, stay in a couch, if they spill red wine on a white sofa, you're now scrambling to get that sofa replaced before the next guest comes in. With our insurance, we can get that taken care of, and we can get a new couch in there within a couple hours. And that takes the burden off of the homeowner there. And then from the maintenance piece, if you go in and you find out that a cabinet door has been ripped off the wall, or, the toilet's broken, now you're scrambling to go to Lowe's to get parts. We have a maintenance team that can go in and take care of that. So it takes that stress off of having to be reactive when a guest leaves and another one's ready to come in.
Can you walk us through what Unwind in Idaho handles for property owners, from preparing the home to managing guest stays?
Absolutely. I think this is where, we really are the eyes and the ears of the home, right? And we care for the home truly as if it were ours, and treat it no differently. We know every single nuance, whether there's this one little divot in the floor over on the right-hand side, or the water shutoff is underneath the home to the left. If you crawl through the space, we know every intricacy of every home down to the nitty-gritty details. And we can do that with confidence. So we can quickly help out a guest if they're in a home, be able to answer those questions quickly. I think the other piece that we really lean into is that guest experience. We are so excited and passionate about anyone coming to our area, and this is the fun for us. And we always love when we can kind of crack that nut and be able to have a mutual correspondence between guests, get to learn more about them, get to learn that they're coming and treating their mom to their 65th birthday, extravaganza that's happened to be married with her retirement, and to help coordinate family photos and to partner with Alene to make sure they've got this beautiful birthday cake waiting for her. And making sure we've got the boat that's at the dock that's waiting. That's just the fun part for us, is to make sure that their stays really are curated around making memories together and having an incredible time that they'll talk about for years to come. And the home is just a vehicle in which they stay. It's the experience and the togetherness, and that is the beautiful richness that we get to be part of. And we feel very, very blessed to be in that space with them.
What are some common misconceptions people have about owning or managing a vacation rental?
I think I'm going to speak to the Coeur d'Alene market in particular, because I think that's a big one and a question we get asked all the time. Right now, Coeur d'Alene is a hot place to be, and a lot of people are moving here. It's no surprise real estate prices are going up. And I think years past, I'll rewind, 8 years, owning a short-term vacation rental was an income generating exercise. Now with where things are at, where property values are, having a short-term rental is a way to supplement the mortgage. If you're coming in and you're doing a standard 80-20 mortgage, the short-term rental isn't going to pay for it. If you're looking to offset that, if you have a home, that's been a generational home and you want to pay property taxes, generate income that way, I think that's good. But we get a lot of people, a lot of real estate agents coming to us saying, hey, we've got a client that wants to buy this home. They've got 20% down. How much money are they going to make? And the answer is nothing. It's what percentage of the mortgage can they offset? So I think that's something good for people to understand in this market, is it's a great way to realize your dream, the same way we did over in Oregon. We did the short-term rental to offset a portion of the mortgage, not to pay for it.
Thank you. For someone planning a trip to Coeur d'Alene, what are the advantages of staying in a vacation rental instead of a traditional hotel?
Well, this is where we love to be able to have the comforts of home in each one of our homes, to be able to go out and, share a day on the lake or go hike around Tubbs Hill and explore Sherman, to then be able to go back and unwind at a home, to be able to have all the comforts of home, to sit around and reminisce about the day, to be able to come alongside each other in the kitchen and cook a meal together versus, going out, to be able to sit on the front porch in the morning and enjoy a cup of coffee in a neighborhood that's just quiet and slow, and watch the specialness truly of what our community has to offer. Those are the differences. When we travel, we personally love to always err on the side of staying in a vacation rental, just because we love those comforts, to be able to crack a bottle of wine on a patio and enjoy the view and just be in a community and not immerse ourselves in. That's just more of our style and our speed, and we love to be able to have our guests be able to experience the same thing when they're staying in our homes.
What type of travelers tend to benefit the most from staying in a house or a vacation property?
I don't think there really is a specific demographic for that. I mean, you can be you could be a young newlywed couple, you could be a large family, you could be a retired couple. It all kind of depends on the needs and the wants that you are looking for out of your vacation. As Michele mentioned, it's all about the experience, and that's something you don't get out of a hotel. So if you're looking to curate an experience for your vacation, something that you're going to remember and not just a place to sleep, that's where you're going to benefit from a vacation rental.
What should travelers look for when comparing short-term rentals and property management companies in the Coeur d'Alene area?
I think when you're getting ready for a visit, it's understanding why you're coming here and what you're wanting out of it. A lot of short-term rentals they're all managed by somebody, but a lot of them, they're purely just making sure you get checked in and you leave when you're supposed to leave, and there's little to no interaction in between. And where we really stand apart is we're going to be right beside you through that entire stay, whether it's, an issue with not being able to figure out how the dishwasher works, or if, something stops functioning while you're in the home, or if you need help with dinner reservations, or we're here as a travel partner to do whatever you would need us to do, as to where, others expect you to just come in and go home.
What does Unwind in Idaho do to make the booking and check-in experience feel smooth and personal?
So part of our booking process, really is to be able to understand, even after the guest is booked, to be able to dig in, understand, and tease out why they're coming, what they're coming for, if they're comfortable sharing that. And with that is where we can share with them really what different elevated experience they can have with us. We love to offer more of that concierge experience for when folks come in. And that can be something as simple as, let's make sure we've got your starter groceries waiting in the refrigerator for you upon arrival. That can be making sure we've got transport waiting for you at the airport. One of our favorite floral arrangements, we partner with a local floral company to celebrate and commemorate special occasions. We learn if, there's children, how do we really slow it down and make sure that they are well thought of in this journey as well, and they know about the big red barn and can go to the petting zoo. When guests are staying with us, we often get recaps from them and photos of their experience along the way, and which just leads to a deeper connection with them. And oftentimes when people come here, they're hungry, they want more. They got a little bite size of what our community offers, but then they want to learn more. So I think one thing that is really important, I think when we travel, we want our check-in experience to be very smooth, not complicated, and very easy. And with us, our guests will experience all of that, from keyless entry to making sure the porch light's left on, a lamp inside on, depending on when they get in. The furnace is set to the right temperature. Music might be playing. The fire might be going. We want to make sure when they have that first step into the home that it feels like they are at home, and that's very well thought out, very well curated, and easy and comfortable. And we continually, throughout their process, check in with them, make sure that if there's anything they need, if they need extra towels or whatever that might be, even if it's an extension of their stay. Life happens, things can come up, and they might need to extend and stay beyond, and we will do everything we can to make sure that can happen for them, or they might just simply fall in love with the area and want to extend their stay as well.
How does having a local management team improve the guest experience when questions or unexpected issues come up?
I think this can be a really important one, because there are property management companies that work on a national corporate level, and they don't really have boots on the ground people. If a guest is in place and an appliance quits working, if they reach out to the national management company, they're now trying to find a local appliance repair or, handyman or whatever it might be, not really knowing the area, not having connections. If you deal with a local management company, especially, with us, we have a lot of partners that we deal with, and we're on a first name basis, and, we can call our appliance repair company and have them out there within usually an hour or two. So having almost immediate response time, and I say immediate loosely, but having that same day response time to get out so the stay isn't impacted, or even down to if a guest wants a local recommendation. If they're calling somebody that's based in Minnesota, they're not going to know a good place to go to dinner. So just having that local experience, local knowledge. And a lot of times, we have our office right here in Midtown, and we've had guests pop in and say hi. And I think they like to put a face to a name, and, and even, thank us for the stay that they've had and the experience that they've had. And, how can we book with you and come back next year? And so that local presence, the local personal touch is really important.
What advice would you give someone visiting Coeur d'Alene for the first time?
The biggest thing that I would say to anybody coming here is slow down and take the time to disconnect and enjoy the area. This is such a wonderful place to break free from the monotony, the technology, the hustle and bustle, to just breathe the fresh air, enjoy the surroundings, the kind people, connect with your family, with other travelers, locals, immerse yourself in the community, the culture, because there's something special here that you almost can't describe until you experience it.
I think a lot of our guests almost go through a little bit of a detox the first couple days because they're coming from hustle bustle and maybe you're a little irritated, how long it might take at the grocery store because Sharon is chatting it up with the person that she's scanning their groceries for and checking in on how the weekend went and making sure that all the eggs are not broken and verifying that the seal on the creamer is sealed before it goes into the grocery bag. And that is what makes our community so special, is the presence and the connection that everyone has for each other. And we hear that time and time again, that when people come, they're just overwhelmed with how kind people are. They'll look you in the eye. They genuinely want to know about you. And it just feels different. It's just this big hug that they get. And it's something that will stay with them forever when they leave.
What do you want property owners to feel when they trust their home to Unwind in Idaho?
I think a sense of peace and comfort knowing that their asset is protected.
Now, I would say, in addition to that we are looking for every way to help them meet their goals, whatever that might look like. And one of those pieces that we recently just adapted is we have a quiet season. After Labor Day, things start to slow down. And we've heard from our owners that can be really hard. And so we have adapted and expanded our portfolio into offering not just short-term, but mid and long-term stays as well, to be able to help keep that income generating for them if the opportunity arises. They were always looking for ways to help their bottom line and their goals be met, whether that's suggestions or recommendations. And even sometimes those might be hard to hear, that, it's time to get new carpet. But we know that through that relationship, they trust us, and that investment, they'll see it come back.
What do you want guests to remember after staying at one of your properties?
As much as we want them to enjoy and remember the home, we want them to remember us and the experience that they had while they were staying with us.
The care and the intent that went into making sure that everything was shared with them to make it the most memorable experience. Of course you want them. For us, it's just a standard that they go into a home and it's immaculate, it's clean, it's equipped, it has everything that they need, that there's nothing wrong with the property, that it's going to exceed their expectations. But it's beyond that. It's about the human connection. And we really want to make sure that when they're vacationing, choosing to come to our area and choosing to stay with us, that is something that they'll never forget. And so much so that they'll want to come back again and stay with us, because of that experience.
What ultimately sets Unwind in Idaho apart from other vacation rental and property management options in the area?
3 biggest key pieces: safety, maintenance, and our concierge services.
Yeah, and we pour our heart into each one of those categories, and we just view it as those are 3 things that should be the norm. And it isn't the norm. And we want to make sure that, that all of our homes are protected. We want to look out for our owners always and to help prevent anything from happening that would put them at risk or liability. In addition to our guests, we are the glue between the two and the stewards of the home and the concierge services for the guests. And we get the gift of being able to be that for both sides.
For someone who has a property they are thinking about renting out, what is the best first step?
The best step is to call us. Even if they choose not to go with us, we're still a resource. We're still somebody that they can come to us and say, hey, I've talked to 2 or 3 other property management companies. This is what they're telling me. We're going to be honest, straightforward. We're going to be a solid resource that they can come to, that they can rely on. We have the knowledge, we have the expertise. We're local. We know the area. We know the industry. We're homeowners ourselves, which is a big piece that a lot of other property management companies can't say. We've been on both sides. We know what it's like to be the manager and be the owner. So we have a lot of good knowledge we can share. And ultimately, of course, we do hope they choose us.
I think with that, too, we are always excited to talk to potential new owners that have never been in this industry before. We really believe that diversifying your financial portfolio through real estate is an incredible option. And we've been very blessed to be able to do that ourselves. And if there's any way we can help come alongside somebody to show it's possible, to be that partner to them, it can be risky. It can feel like a scary step. But when you have the right property management company that's side by side with you throughout the journey, even before you bought the property to after it's being rented out to guests, it doesn't have to feel that way. And we will make sure that it is seamless and as smooth as we possibly can.
What are the benefits of booking with Unwind in Idaho?
We have benefits that actually go both to the guest and the homeowner. The first one being our insurance, just the peace of mind of coverage for, like I said, for the guest and the homeowner. If there's incidental damage, if a homeowner breaks a wine glass, they don't have to worry about us going back to them saying that they need to pay for it. We're not going back to the homeowner saying that a guest, damaged this, we need to go buy a new set. We just take care of it. Our housekeeping team goes in after a guest leaves. If there's a stain on a rug or a broken dish or, the coffee pot's cracked or whatever it might be, we just go to the store and get another one. The guest doesn't know, the homeowner doesn't know. And it takes the stress off of both sides, just that knowing the homeowner's not out anything, the guest doesn't have to worry about paying for anything. The other benefit is our cancellation policy. So one thing that we have put in place is we have revenue protection for the homeowners and a flexible cancellation policy for the guests that they can cancel up to 7 days before arrival and get 100% refund back. But with that, if the cancellation is within 60 days of the guest arriving, the homeowner still gets paid. So even if it's 8 days before the guest arrives and they cancel, the guest gets their money back and the homeowner still gets their revenue. And that's an incredible thing in this industry to be able to provide that to homeowners because they're counting on that revenue. They see that booking come in. They know that X amount of money is coming in for that month. So it's devastating if a large, even just a small reservation gets canceled and they see, a few hundred or a few $1,000s just disappear. They still have the peace of mind knowing that they're still going to get paid on that.
For someone looking for a place to stay in Coeur d'Alene, how can they explore your available properties or get in touch with your team?
All of our properties are listed on our website at unwindandidaho.com. We are a Casago franchise, so you can also go to casago.com and specifically search for Coeur d'Alene, or they can call us and get a real human at 208-755-3675.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I learned so much about North Idaho and about Unwind in Idaho. So thank you so much, Michele and Edward. And thank you for listening to Unpack with HTECH.
Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate you having us.